with any revolution, change in a society, or ideology in history, hundreds and thousands of people die. For example, the First World War, 17 million dead caused by non-Muslims. Second World War, 50 to 55 million dead caused by non-Muslims. Nagasaki atomic bombs, 200,000 dead caused by non-Muslims. The war in Vietnam, over 5 million dead caused by non-Muslims. The war in Bosnia and Kosovo, over 500,000 dead caused by non-Muslims. The war in Iraq so far, 1.5 million dead caused by non-Muslims. The massacre of the Red Indians in North America, 100 million dead caused by, you guessed it, non-Muslims. Those are the revolutions of the kuffar. Now let's look at the reform of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. In his entire prophethood, there was a total of 63 battles. So in total, there were 63 battles in the 23 years of prophethood. So what was the total number of deaths? The total number of casualties was 1,287, give or take a couple. In other words, large numbers of battles, yet low number of deaths. Because the Prophet ﷺ avoided turning towns, cities and places into ruin and rubble. He avoided all that. He avoided the deaths of civilians en masse. Whereas the kuffar, no, they don't care who gets killed or what is destroyed as long as their agendas are fulfilled. This is our Prophet Muhammad ﷺ. Despite being in war, he was a man of honor, of dignity and principle. He was a man, as the Sahaba said, who never breached a treaty with a non-Muslim. He was a man who never betrayed those who betrayed him. He was a man who was sincere with all those who were dishonest with him. And he was a man who was always truthful with those who would lie to him. Aisha said radiallahu anha about him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, كَانَ خُلُقُهُ الْقُرْآنِ. His manners were like that of the Qur'an sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Never, I repeat, never depict the clothes and the sword of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam as one drenched and dripping with blood. Never happened. You'll never find any hadith, any narration to that effect. Those who have lied and accused Rasulullah of such must have gotten their facts wrong and mixed up with America. Because it's their nations in reality whose flags are dripping with the blood of innocent civilians. The Prophet ﷺ didn't start a war over here with 500,000 casualties. And before finishing that war, he moves on to the second war, which caused 500,000 to 1,000,000 casualties. And before finishing that second war, he starts a third war with another 100,000 casualties on top. No. That wasn't Rasulullah ﷺ. As we said, his entire lifetime, only 1,287 casualties. Even when he conquers Mecca, it's a victory like none other, a bloodless, warless victory. Yet, after all this, they still accuse us of being terrorists. They still accuse Islam of being a religion of terrorism. They are the ones terrorizing us, for they have sent their armies into our lands. It's not the other way around. We haven't sent our armies into their lands. And some might say, no, you can't compare the numbers because the armies back then were much less than today. You have to compare ratios. Firstly, that's not true, because we know in the Battle of Mu'tah, the Muslims were facing 200,000 disbelievers. 100,000 from the Arab and 100,000 from the Romans. But let's just say we agree with them for a moment. Let's just say, okay, let's compare the ratio of those in the army to the number of casualties. You will find the ratio of deaths in the time of the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ is 1 to 2% at most. 1 to 2%. Whereas today, the ratio of deaths equates to 200, 300 and at times 500%. Why? Because these kuffar, they will turn countries to ruin and dust. Saying it's self-defense, they will destroy towns and cities in pursuit of their own political and ideological goals. Whereas the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ would avoid all of that. He commanded the Sahaba to keep away and not harm the elderly, to keep away and not harm women, to keep away and not harm children, to keep away and not harm monks, worshippers and non-combatants, even animals, and cutting down trees. He even forbade the Sahaba from cutting down trees unnecessarily.